They say into your early life, romance can.
At the beginning of this year, I went to IFFR, the International Film Festival Rotterdam in the Netherlands, which is one of my favorite festivals I ever got to visit. I'll also be making a vlog type video about my time and experience there. This video, on the other hand, is going to be about the films I got to see. I was there for 2 weeks and I saw a lot of films, some good, some not so good, and some hidden gems. Babyteeth is an Australian film directed by Shannon Murphy. It was written as a stage play and later adapted for the big screen by Rita. I don't want to butcher her last name, so I'll just leave it here. This movie is a delightful teen melodrama full of heart, laughter, and batshit insane characters. It is so operatic and transparent when it comes to its emotions. It's as if the characters aren't capable of holding any of them inside, at least not for long. They are all exaggerations in the best way possible. Their spirits all coincide in this chaotic mixture of love, death, and their all too crazy but human destinies. They echo each other's feelings with even more intense ones, like they're all begging to be heard and understood. The story follows Mila, a young and determined woman from a wealthy family suffering from a deadly illness, who falls in love with a charismatic drug dealer named Moses, a metaphor of sorts. He awakens her sense of adventure and she introduces him to her parents, a neurotic couple, her mother a loony, out-of-touch housewife, and her father a psychologist, prescribing Moses drugs in order for him to spend time with his daughter and make her happy. Each character in the film is fully realized, three-dimensional, and is given their time to shine, fall from grace, and repent for their actions. Once you meet them initially, it is hard to get into their world and understand their motivations, but as soon as you let yourself go, you start enjoying the ride for all the bumps and turns it offers. Acting in the film was a showcase of talent, although I have to point out Ben Mendelsohn and Essie Davis, who managed to be completely adorable and at the same time the worst parents imaginable. They're all very desperate people, each craving love but each having trouble loving others. It's very loud and abrasive, and that is when it works best. They're all very flawed, but somehow they manage to use each other as comfort. That is one of the best aspects of this film, the way it showcases healing as an act one can't fully do by themselves, and it requires others similar to us to help us feel less alone. It is a film about compassion, but not necessarily the Hollywood everything is gonna be okay type of film. Their compassion is limited by their character flaws, and that's what makes them so believable and human. The film is also very funny and lighthearted. The humor comes out of the characters themselves and their awkward and honest interactions and reactions. The cinematography could have been better and helped the film out more in telling the story. But again, the film was based on a play, and it truly works best when you're listening to these characters talk and fight and confess to each other. It is a wonderful film that is both entertaining and gripping, and it is quite a crowd pleaser. It offers a unique perspective on mental illness, the good and the bad ways people try to deal with it, and I recommend it to anyone who likes those kinds of films. A Perfectly Normal Family is a debut film from Denmark, directed by Malou Reymann. It is a semi-autobiographical film about coming of age in a very specific and unique circumstances. Malou Reymann really broke the ice by making a film about one of the most personal and formative periods of her life. When she was 12, her father came out as transgender, and her entire life, as she knew it, changed completely. This film could have easily gone in the cliché, melodramatic direction, but thankfully Malou Reymann gave the film a realistic perspective. Most of the time, this kind of story gets to be told from the perspective of the person who is transitioning, but we often tend to forget that the transition is a step not taken only by one person, and this film explores that aspect really well. Reymann personally went through what the main character is going through in the film, and that makes it all the more interesting and makes it more believable. The main character's journey is a tough and complex one, and the actress does a great job of portraying it. Even though she is young and not that experienced, she has this natural ease in front of the camera and commands our attention with slight glances, and I'm sure that she's a star in the making. She plays a tomboy in love with football, soccer in America, thanks to her father. He's at her every game, and the opening of the film is a great introduction to the family dynamic when she and her father are together watching a football game. It brilliantly shows us what she is used to and how she grew up. Needless to say, all of that changes completely when her father transitions. Not only physically does he look like a completely different person, but acts like one as well. Her father suddenly has no interest in football anymore, and instead cares about his appearance, like clothes and makeup. What this film shows wonderfully is how an innocent yet extremely loving and quiet child rediscovers her father again and has to deal not only with that, but the world around her rediscovering her father as well. All that set in the background of the late 90s, the film's soundtrack is used in a beautiful way. It moves the whole plot along and is an essential part of the film. It helps us understand the characters, which at times can be quite hard to grasp. The music, consisting of popular 90s pop songs, also doesn't overpower the rest of the film. It gives it just the right amount of ease and lightheartedness, which counterbalances the heavy and the dramatic. And I really love that Reymann found the humor in the midst of all this drama. I did an interview with her about the film, for which I'll leave a link in the description for anyone who is interested in checking it out, where I spoke to her about the decision to introduce humor into such a controversial topic. And she spoke about the fear of today's generation when it comes to speaking about such topics, especially trans rights. Although being aware of such issues in the media brings spotlight to those disenfranchised, people suddenly start fearing offending someone or saying the wrong thing so as not to be labeled a transphobe. Reymann's decision to set the film in the 90s, when people could speak more freely, was a great decision because it helps open up the dialogue in a humane way about the subject, rather than the film telling the audience how they should feel. It works wonderfully when the audience hears their own judgments and stereotypes said out loud in the universe of this film, so they can be properly analyzed. This film is a great debut, and a personal one at that, which I encourage everyone to check out as soon as you can and wherever you can, because the talent in this film is to look out for. I'll be covering more of the films I saw at the festival in upcoming videos. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.